Well, you know the old saying, you are what you eat? Turns out it's more like you are when you eat, especially when it comes to protein. So, here to break down exactly how much protein we need is registered dietitian Sue Ma. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
So, this is a question always top of mind for a lot of us, but especially if you work out, you think, when do we need the protein and how much of it can I actually eat?
I know, it's so true. Protein is so important. Like, protein helps to build antibodies, which is important for our immune system, keeps us healthy. But protein also helps build and repair muscle. And that's important for all of us because we all want lean, strong muscle tissue. Here's sort of the not so good news though. By the time we hit about the age 35, we start to naturally lose muscle mass.
Okay.
And over time, when we get our 60s and 70s, we can develop something called sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss. You might see this in your parents or your grandparents. They don't have the muscle strength to get out of a chair without maybe using their hands and pushing themselves up. So we want to maintain our muscle mass and prevent or slow down that muscle loss.
Okay, so this is a segment not just for the hardcore athletes, it's for every
For everyone, absolutely.
Okay, so most important meal of the day we know is breakfast. We hear this over and over again, but especially when it comes to protein.
Especially when it comes to protein. So the ideal amount that we're looking for is 20 to 30 grams of protein at every single meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's the ideal amount because that helps our body effectively and efficiently build muscle mass.
Okay, so no more than 30?
Anything after 30 is kind of wasted.
Okay.
So 30, maybe 35. It depends on your athletic capabilities, if you're an endurance athlete or a strength athlete. But 20 to 30 grams is sort of the ballpark what we're aiming for.
Okay, so break it down real easy for breakfast. What does that mean?
Okay, so for breakfast, I've got a breakfast burrito, and I've made it with 2 eggs because we know that eggs are an excellent source of protein.
Right.
1 egg contains 6 grams of protein.
Amazing.
So 2 eggs, we're at 12 grams of protein. I've also added some grated cheese in between, 2 tablespoons, and that brings my sandwich up to 20 grams of protein, just like that.
That's awesome.
But the problem is most of us probably don't get enough protein at breakfast and we're overloading at dinner time. So we really want to balance it out through the day and get 20 to 30 grams at every single meal.
So you're telling me I should have my steak in the morning?
You could do that if you wanted to.
If I'm real ambitious.
You could do that, yeah. And coffee
Mm-hmm.
in the morning, we all need it. If you want to add a little bit of milk to your coffee, that's going to add some protein to your meal too. And have some veggies, have some fruit with your meal just to round out the breakfast.
Okay, what about lunch? This looks so colorful. I love it.
I love it too. And this is a vegetarian-inspired lunch. So I've got a soup and a sandwich. So minestrone soup, lots of vegetables, and beans. I'm a big fan of beans, right?
Yeah.
So a quarter cup of beans contains, 5 to 8 grams of protein, which is amazing. Now, for the sandwich, I've got some hummus instead of mayonnaise. So I've got some protein there. And then bread typically does not contain very much protein. But I was at the grocery store the other day, and I found a new bread. It's a rustic bean bread. That's actually
bean, the key word.
Actually made with a Canadian-grown chickpeas, beans, peas, and lentils. And it's also made with whole grain, whole wheat flour. So very wholesome. Each slice of bread contains 6 grams of protein.
Okay.
So that's a great way to add more protein to the meal.
Yeah.
Soup and sandwich will give you about 15 grams of protein. To bring this meal up to 30 grams of protein, we're going to add some Greek yogurt.
And this is not a lot, Sue. This is a tiny little cup of yogurt.
It's about 3/4 of a cup, which is a serving, and that's going to give you about 15 grams of protein. So for this delicious, wholesome lunch, you've got 30 grams of protein, and that's going to help fuel you for the afternoon.
Okay, we only have about 90 seconds left. So with a snack, real quick, what can we do for protein? Same amount?
Well, a little bit less, about 10 grams of protein. So you can have some peanuts, handful of peanuts. If there's an allergy to peanuts, because we know some families do have that, you can have a slice of cheese, maybe some tuna. I always like to pair it with some produce, an apple, a pear, an orange, that kind of thing.
Awesome. And then supper time. Sue, I love you. You put coffee with breakfast, and now you're giving me wine at dinner time.
Wine, and that's totally fine. Now, for dinner time, remember, portions are important. So the serving size of a piece of meat is about the size of your palm.
Okay. I have big hands. This is
Well, so do I. That's okay, too. Or about the size of a deck of cards. That's about 20 grams of protein, whether you like beef, chicken, pork, fish. Then we're going to finish off the meal with a cafe latte. That's
decaf, of course.
Yeah, or whatever you wish. And that's about 9 or 10 grams of protein. So this meal adds up to 30 grams of protein.
Okay. This is amazing. And just the wine for fun.
Well, you know what? We have to
Cheers.
enjoy, right?
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Sue, thank you so much. You broke that down really simply. I know that my father, who's a diehard carnivore, will be a little disappointed by the serving size, but you know what? You made it easy for us to get our protein right through there.
Thank you so much. Cheers to your health.